Back.
Thanks so much for being with us. How are you?
Thanks for having me back. I really appreciate it.
We can't get enough of you. We just enjoy it. Javi, tell us about your history with the University of Notre Dame.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had no connection to Notre Dame growing up. We were not Fighting Irish fans in my house. I didn't have family who went there. It wasn't until I was about a senior in high school that I went back there for summer camp. And while I was there, what I just loved so much about the place was this little refuge by the lake there on campus that is the Grotto. It's a replica of the Grotto in Lourdes, which when I was a young child, I actually went there with a health condition seeking healing. And so to once again find this little grotto in the night, it was such a place of healing and hope for me in my young age and all my tumult of being 17 and all that you've got going on then. And so when I went to Notre Dame as an undergrad, I constantly returned to the grotto nightly, whether in the very, very cold or in the beautiful, spring and late summer when the fireflies were out. And so my prayer there was always, God, let me serve you in some way. Let me find my purpose. And so several years later, after I graduated, a priest reached out to me from Notre Dame, said, "Hey, we got this kind of crazy idea of some sort of media initiative, and we think you should do it, help out with it." And so I came back, and so it's only fitting that once again it would be named Grotto, and it would be a place for me to find refuge for my creative work, and hopefully share that sense of peace and hope to other young people.
It does kind of make sense that you'd come right back to the Grotto. And because I wasn't here Friday, if we could just talk a bit about Grotto again, and beginning with your story of overcoming a health condition, and eventually I know you traveled to Tanzania where you shot a segment with Priests Celebrate Mass in a crater, and then you climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. Can you tell us about that whole trip?
Yeah. Absolutely. So that was our first production at Grotto Network, which, our whole purpose at Grotto Network is to celebrate the lives of young people living with purpose and living with hope. And so I had this incredible opportunity to go to Tanzania with these two wonderful priests, Father Pete and Father Pat. And we were visiting different sites in Tanzania. And one of those was the Ngorongoro crater, which is this massive game park with all these, incredible creatures. And we weren't really planning on it, but it worked out that we were able to celebrate Mass on the hood of our Land Rover truck, which was just incredible. We had the hippos just right in the background from us, and really once in a lifetime opportunity. But then in addition to that, we climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. And so my health condition, I had very severe scoliosis as a child, which is a spinal deformity. And I eventually had to have surgery to correct it. And it was a long time of rehab and recovery. And my faith grew so much in that time because it was a moment of just having to say, God, take over, because I can't do this alone. And so climbing Mount Kilimanjaro with those two priests, we celebrated Mass each day of that journey. Sometimes with nothing but, a few rocks as our altar. And to make it to the top really just felt like such an affirmation that by handing myself over to God, I could do anything. And so I'm really proud that was our first production, because it certainly was an ambitious one. But it really felt like, for me, a personal culmination of so much of my life of faith.
And those are going to be great videos to watch. Have you found that working for Grotto has strengthened your faith, Javi?
Yeah, absolutely. It has. One of the greatest joys of my job as producer is to come in on a Monday and see something that's come from the field, from one of our videographers and one of our filmmakers, and to suddenly be taken to some person, whether they are in the West Bank, whether they are in the border in Arizona, wherever they might be in the world, who are just living with so much conviction and hope. And, with these stories, and I hope it's something that your audience gets to see too, it's an opportunity to see Christ's work in action in the real world. I think of some of our stories, like this one where we followed these volunteers providing water to migrants in the desert in Arizona, who are truly, bringing water to the thirsty, living out that call from Christ. For me, it's been such a wonderful experience. It's been given the proof that I think we all are searching for.
How do you actually decide, what topics you're going to cover? I know that pre-pandemic you were releasing an episode about every week or so. So how's that all shaping up now, and how do you make these decisions?
Sure. So certainly the pandemic has, presented some challenges, but we've been able to continue production with, a number of safety practices in place and using Zoom technology as well. But as far as finding these stories and what we're going to do, first and foremost, we have to ask ourselves, what are young people concerned about, thinking about, worried about? And where are their pain points? Where are they struggling in their own lives, whether in their careers, their relationships, their faith? And so sometimes it's just a lot of cold calls to people we think are interesting and think could be worthwhile. And sometimes it's the Spirit at work connecting us from one person's story to another and really just guiding us that way.
Well, you have a great social media presence. I'm actually a subscriber to your YouTube channel. So you have the YouTube channel. What motivates the school and the Grotto team to continue to produce these stories? What moves you forward?
Yeah, absolutely. It is the conviction that young people need reasons to hope. It is the firm belief that if young people are not shown what it is to live with faith and with conviction, then how will they find it? And so the university has committed themselves to this project and in providing the resources and the wonderful studios that we have in South Bend. And they really believe that they need to be cultivating the next generation of faithful Catholics. And so it's that conviction that's guiding us.
Well, Javi, again, thank you so much for partnering with Catholic TV and allowing us to bring this wonderful work into so many homes. Where can people also find all of the work that Grotto does?
Well, absolutely. And like you, they can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're on all social media at Grotto Network. You can follow our website, www.grottonetwork.com. We have a wonderful newsletter, too, that you can sign up for. And looking forward to folks watching on Catholic TV.
Javi, it's a pleasure. Tell everyone out there that we send our best.
Absolutely.
Stay
absolutely.
safe.
Take care.
Thanks, Javi.
Bye-bye.